Now we'll look at circle geometry, and there's certain terminology we have to be familiar with to do circle geometry. So just looking at these ones here, the definitions. Now obviously we know what a circle looks like, but to know the definition of it, a circle is a set of points in a plane. So in a flat, basically it's a flat shape, two-dimensional shape, and it's made up of a set of points, same distance from a fixed point in the plane. And that fixed point obviously would be the center of the circle. So those set of points are equally distant away from a point there. So that's what a circle can be defined as. Semicircle, so obviously semi means half. So half circle bounded by a diameter and half the circumference. So hopefully we're understanding what the diameter and circumference is. We'll talk about that in a moment. A chord. Now this is one you're going to see a lot, this word chord. Basically a chord is a line that goes from, straight line that goes from any 2 points on a circle or a curve. It doesn't have to be a straight, doesn't have to be a circle. But we have lots of chord theorems we're going to deal with in circle geometry. Radius is a line segment. Okay, so it's only part of a line that goes from the center of the circle to its circumference, so joining the point on the circle. A diameter is a line that is a chord, really. So it's a special chord because it goes through the center. So the chord goes from one side to the other, but goes through the center. A secant. Now, a secant is a straight line that cuts a circle in 2 points. So notice the difference between a chord and a secant. A secant's a line, where a chord would be a line segment. So that's the difference between it. And pretty much do some of the same things, but it's the same difference between a line and a segment. Is a line goes on forever, and a segment is cut off. An arc is part of the circumference of a circle, so the circumference being the outside, and the arc is part of that. So it's one section of the circumference of the circle. Now a sector, difference between a sector and a segment and an arc is that the sector is played out by an arc, but also bounded by the two radii. So that would be a sector. But so is the big part. So the shaded part is what we call a minor sector, because it's smaller. A major sector would be the larger part. So you can split it into two parts, a minor and a major sector. A segment, which is a little bit different again, is something that is part of the plane and bounded by a chord and the arc. So you can see the difference between a sector. Sector goes to the center, where the segment is bound by a chord. Again, we get a major and a minor segment in that regard. Concentric circles have the same center, but a different radii. So concentric, so co means together, and obviously centric means center. Together have the same centers. Straight line is perpendicular to AB and through AB at the midpoint is called a perpendicular bisector. So it cuts it in half, and it's bisecting it, and it's also perpendicular to it. Collinear points, points that lie on the same line. So co, together, linear, line. Non-collinear points, obviously, don't lie on the same line. Straight line that touches a circle at a point. Well, not only a circle, but touches any curve at one point only is what we call a tangent. Not to be mistaken with the tangent ratio, but it's a tangent to the curve. It touches it at one place only, as opposed to the secant, which would cut it at 2 points. The distance around a circle is called a circumference. So, and the formula for that, pi times the diameter, or 2 times pi times the radius. We get two lines intersecting. Each interval is called an intercept. So we get intercepts where two lines will cut each other. So there's some terms. Another one you're going to see a lot in circle geometry is one we call subtend. And what the word subtend means is to extend under or to be opposite of. So the idea here is that if we have a line here, or chord AB, or if you want to consider the arc AB, then we can say that that arc AB, or the chord AB, extends under angle AOB. So this chord then would subtend that angle AOB. So basically because the size of the arc or the chord, it causes the angle to be that size, so it subtends it. We could also say the angle at the center is subtended by the RKB, and the RKB is subtended by the angle of the center. So you can look at it the other way. Because we have that angle, we must have that chord or that size of the arc there in that sector of the circle or segment of the circle, which depends on how we want to look at that. So that's where the word subtend. So be used to using that word subtend. So there's some terminology. You need to know that terminology. You need to be able to use it in your reasonings. You need to be able to identify those particular parts and be able to understand when you see those words used in a proof of a circle geometry theorem.